to achieve that highest level of Krishna prema. And as one starts off on the path of devotional service, sometimes it seems like we're never going to get there. Hopeless. We're just hopeless. We make our endeavor, we try so hard, and still we see that we're honeycombed with faults. Now, those of you who don't live too much in the country and don't really know what a honeycomb looks like, all it is holes. All it is in that analogy is just faults, just full of faults, with a little thin border around all those holes that get that sweet nectar. But that's our position. We're honeycombed with faults. But we hear in the songs of the great acharyas their aspiration for the highest level of love of Godhead. We hear that longing, and it doesn't leave us with, although they're mentioning their fallen condition and their lack of qualification and their wretchedness and their complete position without any hope of achieving that goal. But at the same time, it doesn't leave one there on hopelessness. It brings one, that their prayers bring one to the highest level of inspiration. So I thought I'd start by first, let's just get a little feedback from all of you. If we just talk about hopelessness. Hopeless. You're hopeless. It's a hopeless endeavor. What kind of emotions does that bring forth? Anybody want to volunteer some reaction from hopelessness? Adi Gopi?
Depression.
Depression. Hopeless.
Same old, same old.
Same old, same old. Anyone else? Hopeless. It's hopeless. You're hopeless. It's like very shocking, right? Rasa? Futility. Anything else? I know it's a little, this is a hard time slot. And it was especially a challenge after a lunch of beans and sojis. So let's not let that weight in the stomach weigh down your brain, okay? So make a little extra endeavor to get the oxygen up to the brain. Hopeless. What kind of emotions does that invoke? Kelly?
Worthlessness.
Worthlessness. Something else. Quick. In the back, I don't know everybody's name.
Anger.
Anger. Was there something over here, Paharna?
I was going to say same, self-anger.
Self-anger. Suranga.
It's like a thief. It just kind of robs you.
Very good. Thief robs you of all your determination. Prabhu?
A lost battle. Lost battle.
Lost battle. Lost battle.
Frustration.
Frustration. And Mahamaya, we'll end it with Mahamaya because we don't want to dwell too much on hopelessness. Mahamaya?
Giving up.
Giving up. Giving up. So this is what, if we just talk about hopelessness in the material sense, this is the result, the emotions that it comes up with, and you feel depressed. But that's not what we're talking about. But Prabhupada, he does, in many lectures, we need to pray to the gods now, okay. In many lectures, oh, thank you. Prabhupada speaks about the hopelessness. Prabhu, right here, could you read here on the screen? Nice and loud for everybody.
In the material world, people are always hoping for something. They hope against hope, yet their hopes will never be fulfilled. People are trying to become happy by adjusting the external energy, but they do not know that happiness cannot be achieved without approaching God. People are thinking, I must first of all see to my own interest. That's all right, but what is that interest? That they do not know. People are thinking that by adjusting the material energy, they will be happy, and everyone is trying this individually, collectively, or nationally. In any case, it is not possible.
Now, when I read this quote, it just weighed so heavily on me, the last sentence. In any case, it's not possible. But what's Prabhupada talking about there? He's talking about the endeavor for material happiness. That endeavor, that we're spent so much of our time and endeavor on also. Trying to be happy by, name it, you name it. Nice family relationship, a good education, a nice job, whatever. We could go on for a bit on things that we think will make us happy. But Prabhupada says that's what we're talking about. That is totally hopeless. Because material energy, even if we have a good relationship, even if we have a good job, even if we have a good education, or whatever circumstance, everything's going okay for us now, we know, because we've been here, we weren't born yesterday, we know that the material world is such, it's created as such, that it's bound to bring difficulties in some form or other. So that's the material aspect of hopelessness. But here, in our seminar, we'd like to focus on the hopelessness that a devotee feels when he's making his endeavor for spiritual life. It's a different kind. It's a different kind. It's not that weighty, this is not as English, it's not that weighty down, hopeless feeling, okay? It's not that depression or disempowered feeling. It's actually, in spiritual life, the hopelessness that one feels actually inspires one to continue endeavoring. It's a total different ballgame, as they say. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has sung Anadi, Karma, Pale, Pari, Pavanarjale, Tari Bare, Na Dekhi Upai. I forgot to read it here too. Due to my past fruitive activities, I've fallen into the water of material existence, and I cannot find any way to get out. Every living entity is suffering in this material existence from past activities. And here comes the clincher. Therefore, everyone has a very old history. Now, this quote struck my heart because when we're endeavoring in our spiritual life, we have a tendency to be a tad impatient, can we say? Can we use those terms? A little bit impatient. I've given up my gross sinful activities. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I put on my tilak. I try to wear my sari. I try to go to Mangal Arti. And I've been chanting Hare Krishna now for a few years. Where's the bliss? Where is it? Where's my realization of Krishna? Where's Krishna? I don't see him. But we have to understand how Anadi. Anadi means, usually it's in reference to Krishna. One of Krishna's name is Anadi, beginningless. But the conditioned soul, the jiva, nitya baddha, is in the material world for so long that he's also considered Anadi, as in conditioned, beginningless. So much time. So in this one lifetime, or in any one lifetime, one commits, every activity has its reaction, positive and negative. So multiply all of those activities from one lifetime, and you have a pretty big bag of karmic reaction. But anadi, karma, male, the fruit of karma, anadi, goes from beginningless time, from time immemorial. So you've got one big bag, and mix it with another bag of a lifetime, and another bag. And we think, yeah, I've been in the material world a few lives, it's been a really long time, but actually a few breaths of Mahavishnu, could we say? Could we say a few creations? How much time? We don't have a concept. So we have that so then trying to get the concept of the time and the resultant reactions that we've now come by the good fortune, at Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, and we're thinking, well, it's been a few years. Is it working or what? Well, we have to be patient. But we have to keep endeavoring too. So this, in the beginning of one's endeavor for spiritual life, there's, by Krishna's grace, it's often quite blissful, our beginning stages. Nectar of Devotion describes that a person unless they've performed some devotional service in their past life. But you just don't come to devotional service out of the blue. It is possible, but it's very rare. More often than not, by the continuation of having performed something or come in contact with something, maybe prasadam at University of Florida, or maybe a book, or maybe some great sage, threw some remnants down, and you were an ant, or I was an ant, and we ate the remnants, and then gradually we got another opportunity. Somehow or other, we've come in contact with devotional service. So we come in this life, and in our beginning, by Krishna's cosmos mercy, our beginning stages of devotional service are quite blissful, because we're making or clearing the progress that we might have made to the level of advancement we've made in our previous lifetimes. And then it's sort of like kind of hit a glass ceiling, and things get a little more difficult to make further progress. But the point I was trying to make, Krishna, before I get lost in that thought, was we've come from our past activities. We have a certain amount to make. And I forget. Krishna,
The time element.
time element, it's there.
Glass
Exactly here at the
glass
fall.
ceiling.
The glass ceiling and the advancement that one makes. And one comes to the next slide. Oh, thank you, Krishna. And when one begins the process of self-realization, there's a false sense of confidence, a false sense of assurance in the beginning stage that, hey, I'm really doing well. Today I had the good fortune of meeting a very dear friend of mine that I don't see very often. Her name is Sumati. But Sumati is my mother. She's my mother. When I came to the Boston Temple, Sumati took care of me and helped me get situated in devotional service. And I saw her and I gave her a big hug and I said, "You're my mother. I wouldn't be here without you." But what I didn't tell her is I can very distinctly remember thinking as a new devotee, maybe 3 months in the movement, thinking, "Oh, Samanti, she's so advanced, but I'm doing this. I'm going so well. In 3 years, I'll be way more advanced than she is. I'll be way further along." I remember thinking like that. It was really good for me to take Lakshmi Shri's seminar this morning on pride and false prestige. So that was one of the things that we get there's a false sense of pride that one gets. But due to what? Due to the cleansing, Chaito Darbana Marjanam, due to chanting Hare Krishna and cleansing the heart and the mind of the dust accumulated and the false identification accumulated for years, then gradually even that becomes cleansed, and one gets to another level. And that other level is you actually appreciate Krishna's qualities, and you see your own insignificance. Previously, there's a false sense of self-importance. But when you make more advancement, then you actually see you're very insignificant. But we're not dwelling on our insignificance per se. We're dwelling on the greatness of the Lord. The Lord is so great and so all-powerful and so merciful to the conditioned soul and has unlimited. Did you ever stop to think how many living entities there are? Yeah. You think, how many living entities, how many parts and parcels are there of Krishna? Little, jivas. And even now on the earth, we'll just take it, on the earth right now, there's wazillions, okay? And then 100 years ago, there was a different amount. And then 500 years ago, and then in ancient history, and all of them on this planet only. Oh, well, there's more. Creation. There's so many unlimited living entities, and we're one of them. For some time in my career, I lived in Puerto Rico, and on days off, you'd go to the beach. There's vast expanse of beaches. And you meditate. One time, I meditated on the grain of sand. A grain of sand on the beach for miles and miles. It's our position is very insignificant. So due self-realization, one becomes fully aware of how insignificant and helpless one is. He realizes that it's impossible for him to achieve anything on his own, not to mention achieving the most rare of Krishna prema. Thus, the devotee becomes truly despondent. But as we said, it doesn't stop there. So don't stop there. Go to the next level, the next understanding. However, self-realization simultaneously causes one to understand the Lord's omnipotence and unfathomable affection for all of the entities. Therefore, although one is completely unable to achieve anything on his own, he is sure that Krishna will help him. And this is what we're talking about. He's sure that Krishna will help him. Thus, he becomes confident of achieving the highest success in spite of his disqualifications. So we're pulled. These are spiritual emotions. We're pulled in opposite directions, ever increasingly polarized, and ever increasingly brings out that spiritual emotion, Ras. So, in spite of our disqualifications, Krishna, he's so kind to the living entity. In fact, as we've heard quoted many a time, that if we take one step towards Krishna, he takes 10 steps towards us. Or you've heard another quote, that if with his hands, what can your 2 hands hold? And if he wants to take something away from you with his 10 hands, what can your 2 hands hold on to? We're totally dependent on the mercy of Krishna. But that doesn't bring out the sense, as we spoke earlier, that material despondency. It brings out what? Spiritual aspiration. Because there has to be two tracks. We have to make our endeavor. We have to make our endeavor for spiritual perfection. And we also have to be dependent on the Lord's mercy. We can't be dependent on the Lord's mercy, but Krishna, please save me. I'll tell you a joke, just to wake a couple of you up. I'll just tell you the joke. There was this blonde lady from Georgia, and she used to pray every week, "Dear Lord, let me win the lottery." And every week, or every month, I don't know how often you do the lottery, at whatever time, she didn't win. So then the next time, "Dear Lord, I'm praying to you all the time. Please answer my prayer. Please let me win the lottery." Then the voice said, "Billy Joe, will you give me a chance? Will you at least buy the lottery ticket?" So we have to make our endeavor. We can't just sit there and think, "Krishna, please save me. I am fallen. Save me." There's an example in Nectar Devotion. Who knows the example from the Nectar Devotion in this regard? Don't worry, Evelyn, I won't call on you. Evelyn was in my Nectar Devotion class. Nectar Devotion, can you remember that example, Shalagram?
The sparrow and Garuda.
That's a good example from Bhagavad Gita. Very good. How about one from Nectar Devotion? About waiting to get Krishna's mercy, but not do, isn't it? I'll give you a hint. It's about school. Going to school, getting an honorable degree. The universities give out honorable degrees to people who have achieved certain levels of success in their work or whatever, even if they didn't go to school. I believe Martin Luther King got an honorable degree from some prestigious school. But many people have gotten an honorable degree. So if we think, okay, that's it, I'm not going, I'm not going to do the work, I'm just going to wait for the honorable degree. Well, you might have to wait quite some time because you have to achieve something to get that. So that's the point. We have to make our endeavor, that's a very important point. The acharyas, when they're expressing their sense of hopelessness, unworthiness. It's not that they're not making endeavor. And also another important factor when they're expressing that sense of inability to achieve success, the acharyas never condone a fallen condition. Yes, we are fine, we are small, and we do have problems, and we do make mistakes, and Krishna is very merciful. But we don't take that as a free ticket. So they don't condone the fallen condition, but it has to be seen with clarity that that is our position. We aren't totally dependent on Krishna's mercy. So 2 points have to be there. We still have to make our endeavor, and we have to await Krishna's mercy. In the example of Damodar Leela, when Mother Yasoda was trying to correct her naughty, naughty child, and he had broken the pot, of butter many times now, so she was determined this time she was going to teach him a good lesson and tie him up, and he was not going to get into any mischief anymore, at least for that day, anyway. And so she gets the rope and she ties him up, and we know the story. It's 2 inches too short. So she gets another rope and she ties it together, and she goes around the waist of her teeny little boy, and it's still 2 inches too short. And in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments, he said the other gopis were standing there. The elderly gopis in the village, they were standing there, and they were saying, Yasoda, give up. Can't you see that it's not meant to be? You're not meant to tie up your son, and therefore you're not able to do it. And she was expressing, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, she was expressing her determination. No, if I have to get every single rope in the village, I'm determined to find out just how big my son's waist is. You know? So she was making her endeavor, but she wasn't successful. She was only successful when Krishna allowed her, when Krishna gave her mercy. She didn't give up, and Krishna didn't give her mercy. She endeavored, Krishna gave her mercy. So that's for us to remember. We have to make our endeavor. We can't, on the one hand, we can't take the equation, what is it, the logic of half a hen or something? We can't take half the equation. Well, my endeavor is never going to be enough, sufficient, so therefore, I won, you know, therefore, let's party, whatever. Therefore, let me keep trying. Yes, I've fallen. Yes, I've made my attempt many times. But the whole process of Krishna Prema, not the process, but the result, the Krishna Prema is there, innate in every living entity's heart. It's already there. It's just a question of bringing it out through the process of sadhana bhakti. And Nectar Devotion explains that the ability to love Krishna is there within the heart, just as, who knows that example? Remember that example from Nectar Devotion? Shaladam?
Attraction between that and woman.
We did? Say it again. Well, it is like that. That's another one. How about Padarajini?
The child's ability to walk.
The child's ability to walk. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Just as the ability to walk is there within a natural little baby, but how does he walk? He doesn't just get up and walk. He practices. So the process of sadhana bhakti, engaging the senses in the service of the Lord, they can bring out what? That potentiality. The potentiality of devotional service is there. It will come out through the process of sadhana bhakti if we continue on. So let's, okay, so this process of asha, it's called ashabandha, hope, trying to achieve the highest hope. This is explained in Nectar of Devotion in the 18th chapter of Nectar Devotion. Now, if you're familiar with Nectar Devotion, it goes in waves. Srila Rupa Goswami has divided the book into 4 waves. And the first wave of Nectar Devotion is eastern side. And the first wave has 19 chapters. This is a little technical information, but it gives you a, we want to see where are we, where does this great hope come in the process of devotional service? It's there. It's a bona fide process of cultivating devotional service. We need to cultivate. The definition that Srila Rupa Goswami gives of pure devotional service, anya vilasita sunyam jnana karmadanavrita anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhakti utama. This anushilana means cultivation. It's a cultivation. So we need to cultivate even this great hope. Here it's described as hope. In the Nectar Devotion it says this great hope. So it's in chapter 18, which is the first beginning chapters, even 6 chapters, even more, maybe probably, 2 to 14. Thanks, Krishna. 2 to 14, they have the process of sadhana bhakti, the rules and regulations, do this, do that, do this, do that. That's Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, rules and regulations. But when one makes advancement, comes to the next level, even of bhava bhakti. So bhava bhakti is described in chapter 17 and 18. And 19 describes prema. So this process of ashabandha, is described in the 18th chapter. It's one of the symptoms of somebody who has the seed of praying, who's on the level of bhava. So you can say, or I can say, well, hello, we're not necessarily on that level just yet. But devotional service isn't just a linear thing. You go to A, you go to B, and you get to B. All of the things are there, and they need to be practiced in perspective, proper perspective. So this great hope is it's actually a cultivation, and we need to cultivate that because, as explained in Bhagavad Gita, in the 10th chapter, in those chatur shloki verses of the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says in the purport that even one can join a religious organization and not be intelligent enough to reach the highest goal. So just joining the organization doesn't mean, it's not like the Greyhound bus driver. You know that Greyhound bus commercial? I guess you have to be really good to know Greyhound bus commercials. Just get on the bus and leave the driving to us, you know? Or we could say that about the youth bus, right? Okay? All right. Get on the bus and leave the driving to us. But it's not like that in devotional service. It's not that we can just join the movement, wear the clothes, do the thises and do the that's. But actually we have to make an endeavor from the heart, a heart change. As we hear, so many of the processes, or so many of the seminars are about transformation. Really to transform the heart, so that it's what? Not a mechanical thing. You can't do it mechanically. You have to do it with love and feeling and emotion. So this hope comes in that category. So here is the quote from Nectar Devotion. Shall I pick a volunteer? Would you like to volunteer? Thank you.
Great hope, the strong conviction that one will certainly receive the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is called in Sanskrit Ashabandha. Ashabandha means to continue to think. Because I am trying my best to follow the routine principles of devotional service, I am sure that I will go back to Godhead after him.
And that's how it's explained there in the Nectar Devotion. Then also in that same chapter, Srila Rupa Goswami gives a really nice prayer under the heading of Great Hope. But here the same prayer is quoted from Madhya Lila. Because in Madhya Lila there's one element that's not there in the Nectar Devotion that sort of brings out the mood of this verse. So here's our position. Oh my Lord, I do not have any love for you, nor am I qualified for discharging devotional service by chanting and hearing. Nor do I possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava, knowledge, or pious activities. Nor do I belong to a very high caste family. On the whole, I do not possess anything. Still, O beloved of the gopis, because position is, yes, we're really fallen. And yes, even for me, this highest goal is attainable. And yes, even for me, I have to fix my mind on attaining that highest goal. Don't just take the process mechanically and just, pay your obeisances when you're supposed to pay, mechanically, but do it with your heart. Fixing your mind on Krishna. Krishna, I want to be reconnected with you. I really want that highest goal. And the more that I want that highest goal, the more that I see I am not qualified to get it. So I'm totally dependent on you. Saranga, you have a question or comment?
There was a couple of screens before there was the fruit that was on.
Karma phala?
The fruit of Exodus. These different qualities. Oh, I can't remember exactly what it was.
And you want to see that? This one? The seed of emotion fructifying?
Ecstatic emotion. So that sounds, the ecstatic emotion sounds like a real high quality, but the quality sounds like something we need now.
Good point. Surendra Thakur is saying that, well, the very fact that we're saying ecstatic emotion, that's a very high level. But we need these things, these qualities that I mentioned, we need them now. Yes, and what you'll see develops these, we need to cultivate these on this level. This is what I was trying to make the point by saying that the process of devotional service isn't linear. We need to cultivate these higher goals. And even now, in our less advanced stage, we have a sense of hope. We are trying to get an absence of false prestige. We're trying to be eager. But as one makes spiritual advancement, a whole new world of understanding and realization comes from these same qualities. So we get a little glimpse of them, and they expand unlimitedly also. Does that help?
Yes.
Is there any other question up to this point? Oh, this is my diagram. I couldn't find a good diagram, so I had to make it up. But anyway, the point is like a seesaw. We need to make our endeavor, at the same time see our unworthiness. But if we just take one of those qualities, we just see that we're unworthy, we always stay on the bottom side of the seesaw. We have to do the other. We have to have the highest hope, and that way balance out and try to reach the supreme goal. Now, there's many, many examples from Srimad Bhagavatam that I can think of. That will bring these points, and I'm sure you can also think of some. One of them that I can think of is from the third canto, Uddhava. Uddhava says, I only know the first three words. Aho pakiyam. He says, he's explaining what mercy that Krishna has, that he gave to this witch, Putana. He's referring to Putana. He elevated her, Putana, to the level of Datri, to a mother, although she came before him with the intention of killing him. So there's Putana, such a sinful, demoniac person. She came to Krishna to what? To kill him. But what did Krishna see? Oh, my mother. She's coming like a mother. She has feelings of motherly affection. And therefore, let me give her the highest mercy. So if that mercy is available to Putana, is it not available to you and I also, who are in our own teeny tiny, puny way making endeavors for Krishna? So, with your permission, I'd like you to discuss among yourselves. I'll break you up in just 4 or 5 groups for 15 minutes, okay? I want you to think of examples in your reading, in your hearing, in your whatever, in your study of the scriptures, of examples of Krishna exhibiting mercy to unworthy persons, or examples of Krishna bestowing mercy that gave you a lot of hope. Okay? And then after, we'll just do it for 15 minutes because there's lots of examples. And then we'll share and go on to the last part. I have a prayer by Srila Sanatana Goswami from the Krishna Lila Stava that I'm going to read to you. It's a beautiful, beautiful prayer about achieving the highest hope. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is break into groups and just discuss among yourselves things that have inspired you in your devotional service. Stories from the scriptures, okay? So here's one group. From here to here is one group, okay? From here to here is one group, okay? Here's one group, okay? And where are you? Okay, here, three, because there's a lot of people here. Okay, can you bring one from here? Three now. And can you bring one from here? This is from Srila Sanatana Goswami. It's in the Krishna Lila Stava. In the back of the Krishna Lila Stava, there's this small section of prayers. It's a very, very beautiful prayer. Oh Shri Krishna. Oh Shri Krishna. I offer my repeated obeisances to the wonder of your mercy. What we can do is, in our meditation, place ourselves as if we're the person offering this prayer. Many things will be very similar. Some things won't apply, but I think you'll get much more out of it. So consider yourself that we're offering this prayer together. O Shri Krishna, I offer my repeated obeisances to the wonder of your mercy. You took me, a fallen, wicked person, a cheater, always addicted to sinful ways, and lifted me from such depravity to an elevated state like that of your saintly devotees. You took me from the terrible place where I lived and brought me to this most auspicious place, Mathura Mandala. You gave me the delight of seeing your blessed face as you sat on your chariot. Then you brought me back to this Vrindavan, the place of so many of your pastimes. The gopis have described Vrindavan's transcendental fame, qualities, and so have you. Hearing of these, even persons living far away, attain love for you and become all auspicious. All creatures that live here, moving and non-moving, are immersed in pure love for you. Here, you can be seen playing always, even today, as if you had never played your pastimes before. Here, you returned me to the company of your beloved devotee, the only wealth of my life. I will always offer you my obeisances, over and over again. Now, you make your name appear from my mouth, and sometimes you allow me to remember your lotus feet in my heart. Even though my body is most lowly, please engage it in offering you these obeisances. Please protect me from all dangers and give me the treasure of devotional service to you. Your mercy is a great wonder, not different from you. It is pure eternity, knowledge, and bliss. It can empower me to always remember and glorify you in pure love. It can obtain for me your loving sidelong glance. It can enable me to see you immersed in the company of the cows and cowherd boys and girls. Thus, for a hopeless hopeless person like me. It is the ultimate resort of all hopes. Your wonderful mercy is ancient and eternal, but also ever new and fresh. To your mercy, again and again, I offer my obeisances forever. O Sri Krishna, any devotee who chants these prayers for deliverance, known as your Leela Stava, understanding their meaning and offers 108 obeisances, will, by your mercy, quickly attain divine attraction to your beautiful form, names, and pastimes, and the place where you enjoy. And there's one more prayer. This is another prayer by Srila Rupa Goswami. This one we just read was from Sanatana Goswami. It's contained in the Krishna Leela Stava, which is a small book that's recently been published and available at krishna.com. Krishna Leela Stava is, Sanatana Goswami had composed that book just for the pleasure of offering obeisances to Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. So that's what the reference there to the 108 obeisances. But here's another prayer by Srila Rupa Goswami about the be like mind. Oops. Where will it be? Hold on. Oh, I know. Do this one. When all else fails. Oh, my Lord. I beg you to shut up. Oh, my Lord Krishna, I beg to offer my prayers to you. My mind is like a bee, and it is after some honey. Kindly, therefore, give my bee mind a place at your lotus feet, which are the resources of all transcendental honey. I know that even big demigods like Lord Brahma do not see the rays of the nails of your lotus feet, even though they engage in deep meditation for years together. Still, O infallible one, my ambition is such, for you are very merciful to your surrendered devotees. O Madhava, I know also that I have no genuine devotion for the service of your lotus feet. But because your lordship is inconceivably powerful, you can do what is impossible to be done. Your lotus feet can derive even the nectar of the heavenly kingdom, and therefore I am very much attracted by them. O Supreme Eternal, please therefore, let my mind be fixed on your lotus feet, so that eternally I may be able to relish the taste of your transcendental service. Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. So these are just some, this is just, you can't even say it's the tip of the iceberg. It's not even, it's just one little molecule of some of the beautiful prayers that are available for us to inspire us to keep on with our endeavors in Krishna consciousness. Understanding our position as really very insignificant, very fallen, and by our endeavor, there's no chance that we're going to make it. We're going to make it. In fact, if we think it's by our endeavor, we still need to keep chanting. We always need to keep chanting, but we're really good at finding some more dust in the heart. And I wanted to just say two more things. You believe that? Two more points. One is a question for you. How is it then, if a devotee is so sincerely praying for the Lord's mercy Krishna is so kind to the surrendered soul. He's more merciful to the most fallen. How is it then? Why is it then? What's your thoughts on that? Why is it that sometimes it appears that he's not reciprocating? Rasa?
But isn't it mercy, if one doesn't feel Krishna's reciprocation, isn't it mercy because the devotee, if one is sincere, calls out and prays more and more, and that in and of itself is mercy?
That's very good point. Because if one is sincere, he's calling out to Krishna and he's not reciprocating, but that sincerity brings him to call out even more, to pray even more. And Krishna explains that to the gopis in the 10th canto. When Krishna disappeared from the Ras dance, the gopis went mad. They went mad, totally mad, in feelings of the highest separation. And from our point of view in this conditioned stage, sometimes it's a little difficult to understand how this separation is ecstasy. But it is. It's ecstatic. Krishna's right there. So when he reappeared, they tested him. They were teasing him. And they asked him, what kind of a lover is it that doesn't reciprocate? There are three kinds of lovers. There are three kinds of lovers. Someone who doesn't reciprocate, or someone who's just on business terms. If you give me this, then I'll give you that. So they're asking him, what kind of a lover are you? Because they're trying to trick him. They're trying to catch him. And have him admit, yes, my dear gopis, I did you wrong. I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. But he didn't say that. Krishna said, the reason I don't reciprocate immediately is to intensify your emotion. And somebody, I can't remember who made the comment that if we're praying for pure devotional service to the Lord, and we're not immediately feeling that reciprocation, that's Krishna reciprocating. Because we're praying for unconditionally motivated love for him. So he's saying, okay, there's no conditions. Now still loving me? Yes. So that's one thing. And then another, the closing quote, I'd like to quote a nice prostitute, Pingala, a nice prostitute, who said, she said, to hope against hope. I want to get this quote. It's here somewhere. Hold on for it. She said, to hope against hope. She said, to hope against hope is utter frustration. Utter hopelessness, utter total hopelessness brings the highest bliss. Yeah, you have to think about that one. Hope against hope means we're thinking we've got another hope. We could use the example, let's say, of Draupadi. Draupadi, she's, being disrobed in the vicious assembly, and she's praying for mercy and justice from Grandfather Bhishma, and from her husband, and from, this one and that one, and it's not working. And fine, so she's got a hope. Bhishma will help. Oh, maybe Arjuna. Oh, maybe nobody. So she still had a hope. And not until she let go and was utterly hopeless of any other person save him, then Krishna reciprocated. And he said, well, she was calling out to Grandfather Bhishma. She was calling out to be. She was calling out to you to scare, so I didn't come. Interesting quote. Huh? That's
Sorry, but I'm going to add something too. It makes me think of someone on their deathbed too, because I think we've had experience with that sometimes throughout our lives, where what else is there to look for? The body's going, the family members are going, everything's going, and remarkable things can happen on the deathbed.
We're seeing so many remarkable things. So let's practice now. Chaitanya, you have a question or comment?
I'm a little confused about that last quote.
Pingala's quote?
No, the other statement you were saying about Draupadi was that she was calling out for Bhishma and then Bhima and then Arjuna, and then finally when she called out for Krishna, he helped her. That's what she was saying. But at the same time, we're taught that you're only supposed to know Krishna through his devotees who serve him, through his devotees who know him. So if we are in time of need and we think of his devotees, that his devotees will help us, I mean, should we just go directly to Krishna, or can we still?
That's a wonderful question, Chaitanya. That's a really good question, and I'd like to hear some of your thoughts on that. So did you all hear what he said? He said, I thought we were supposed to know Krishna through his devotees. So what am I saying? That when she's calling out the devotees, isn't she trying to get Krishna's mercy through the devotee? So what are your feelings on that? What are your realizations on that? Can you churn a little bit, Mataji?
She must have asked the devotee concerned Arjuna, I think, based on his position as a person, not his position as a devotee.
Could be.
Yes, and whatever she was, a little bit adding to this, what you said, Krishna came and saved her, but Krishna did not save her that way. She was still holding on, trying to protect herself. Only when she gave up both her hands in total surrender, then Krishna came. She said, Govinda, she just gave up both her hands. And then she lifted, otherwise she was trying to protect herself with her own hands. You know, but she couldn't. And at last, only in the last moment, she lifted both her hands and she gave up totally. And then Krishna sent the sari and came.
Thank you. Lakshmi Srinaprabhu, do you have something you'd like to add or clarify there?
Well, I was just thinking that ultimately it's the Jiva and Krishna. And the relationship that Draupadi had is an ordinary relationship. So it may appear that, like Chaitanya was saying, she went to others for help, qualified others, like Bhishma or Bhima or Arjuna. But the quality of that relationship that Draupadi had with Krishna. So on that level, you know, we do have a relationship with Krishna, and on the level of Draupadi and Krishna. So it's not uncommon on the strength of that intimate relationship that she would go into him. But for us, on the Vaidhi level, and you know, we have no other shelter, no other hope.
No other hope.
Yeah.
Rasa, did you have something that you wanted to add? Or
What Tanya was saying too.
Prabhu?
Just one thing, something related to your previous sentence when we pray and we don't see the prayers are answered. Probably it's because sometimes we expect the things to happen in our way. And we think like, oh Krishna, I want this and give me, and then I will think like you're protecting me, but Krishna knows better. So there's a very nice story, probably it'll take 2 minutes, but if I can say. It's related to...
1.5 you can have.
It's see, whatever happens for the good. So again, this story was told to me by Krishna devotees. I think all of you are probably aware of this, but I take 2 minutes to tell this, or who don't know this story. So there was a Krishna's devotee. He's a minister of a king, and he always believes in the Krishna's protection. He always thinks whatever happens is for the good. We don't have to, you know, when we pray, Krishna knows what is best for us. So. And he's a king's very loyal minister. So he always tell king like whatever happens for the good. So accidentally one time when king goes for hunting, he loses his finger, and king is very upset with it, and he says, "Oh, this is a very bad thing happened to me." And the minister says like, things happens for good, you know. So don't feel bad. You know, in our life also things was bad, and we always think why things are happening like this. But the minister says, no, you know, have faith in Krishna's protection. This thing happened, you lost your finger, especially with some purpose, you know, because something good will happen with this. And king doesn't believe in this. And there are other ministers who are jealous of this good minister. So eventually they say, you know, your minister is not happy with you, or you know, he's jealous of you. That's why he's saying like he's happy that you lost your finger. So you're not a complete man now. So eventually kings listen to the other bad ministers and takes a decision that he will put the good minister into the prison. And next time when he goes for hunting, then he comes across the tribesmen, you know, they catch him and they see he's a good king and they wants to sacrifice for their goddess. But accidentally they notices that when they are about to sacrifice him, they notice that, oh, this king is not a complete man. He has one less finger. And say, oh, this is not good. But the other minister, they So eventually king realizes this finger has saved my whole life now. So he comes back to the king, comes to the prison, when he comes to kingdom and into his prison. So he just talked to this the minister and said, oh, thank you very much. I agree, like what you said, things happen for good. So this finger saved my life. But said, what good happened to you? Because all the time passed so many years, now you are in the prison, since you said this. So the minister says, no, had I been there with you this moment, I would have been sacrificed. So again the thing happened good for me. So eventually whenever we pray, the message I learned is Krishna takes care, may not be the way we want, but he takes care.
Very, very good point.